Former Sheriff Pat Kelly appeals his case today from behind bars. We have the reaction to his 7-year sentence.
Renovations are on the way for the historic Center House. See what's changing.
And safety awareness for skateboarders and drivers is becoming an issue in Athens. Newswatch at noon starts right now.
A developing story at Trimble Elementary School. Good afternoon, I'm Tajah Smith.
And I'm Sean Neidig. We're still gathering details about what caused the delay for the start of school this morning. But we do know that Trimble had a 2-hour delayed start. Newswatch at noon reporter John Kostis is live in the newsroom with what we know at this point.
Thanks, Sean. We do not know much right now, but after contacting the Trimble Elementary School office and the Trimble Superintendent's office, we were told that the school was delayed this morning at about 8 a.m. for 2 hours. When we repeatedly asked why, we were told only that it was due to the death of a staff member. WOUB has learned the staff member was also a Jacksonville volunteer firefighter. Students reported to school at 10:45, but the superintendent and school principal have both been unavailable to give more information.
Thanks, John.
Former Athens County Sheriff Pat Kelly is expected to file an appeal today to a 7-year prison sentence. Visiting Judge Patricia Cosgrove handed down the sentence last week. Newswatch at noon reporter Allison Gens has a recap of the court action.
As former Athens County Sheriff Pat Kelly walked in and sat down in the courtroom, the only indication he came from jail was a band on his wrist. The sentencing opened with statements from both sides of the case. Prosecutor Melissa Schiffel said Kelly should receive a substantial time in prison because he showed no genuine remorse.
He continues to show no genuine remorse by not turning over his badge, his gun, or any passwords so that this community can move on.
In the defense statement, Kelly responded saying he still believes he is not guilty.
I would not have risked my life's work and our future by standing firm and fighting for what was right and true. And I am the only one that knew the truth.
Before reading the sentence, visiting Judge Patricia Cosgrove said the evidence against Kelly was overwhelming and that Kelly had seen himself as a victim throughout the trial.
You've torn this community apart by your conduct and your arrogance and your refusal to accept responsibility.
Cosgrove sentenced Kelly to 3 years in prison for engaging in a pattern of corrupt activity and 4 years for the other charges, totaling a 7-year sentence with parole up to 5 years. Kelly's lawyer, Scott Wood, says he is disappointed with the sentence.
I think when you sentence an individual, you should consider the achievements of that individual. And when you look at what Pat Kelly has done, I think he deserved the opportunity at community control.
And when the sentencing ended, Kelly was handcuffed once again, and as he walked out of the courtroom, there were cheers of support from family and friends.
Kelly's lawyer says it will take 6 to 8 months for the appeals process and hopes to get Kelly released from prison on a stay of execution during the appeal. He is now being evaluated at the Correctional Retention Center in Orient. When the process is complete, Kelly's lawyer says he'll most likely be housed at the Hocking Correctional Facility in Nelsonville. Several of Kelly's supporters were in the courtroom for the sentencing and had plenty to say about the case.
I'm feeling very upset. I'm feeling that Pat was unjust, he was railroaded. I feel that, I don't know, I can't believe it. I love them people. They're good people. My heart is broke over it.
Well, I personally think he got railroaded. If they're going to investigate people, why don't they start investigating here in Athens County? You'd be surprised what they'd come up with.
He's still got our support, and we love him. We love him and his wife, and he's still got a lot of people that cares for him.
The acting sheriff, Rodney Smith, said after the sentencing that the department is glad this case is over and happy to move on. Smith is expected to be named the permanent sheriff on Wednesday.
A Gloucester man charged with leading police on a chase and shooting at officers entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. Matthew Arno II was charged with 7 counts, including assault, back in October. The count ordered a mental evaluation of Arno at his plea hearing. The shooting and chase happened when police tried to arrest Arnaud for unrelated charges. Arnaud fled, barricaded himself inside a house, and allegedly shot at least one shot. And hunters in Ohio could have a few extra days between gun and muzzleloader hunting seasons. The State Wildlife Council is considering new regulations to put more than just 2 days before the December gun deer season and muzzleloader season. With the proposed changes, gun hunting season will be December 28th and 29th. Muzzleloader season will be January 9th through the 12th. Fall wild turkey season will also change from October 10th to October 12th. A new Ohio gun law goes into effect today that loosens some restrictions for concealed carry permits. The law allows licensed hunters to use noise suppressors while hunting certain birds and other game, including white-tailed deer, rabbits, and squirrels. The law also reduces the training time to get a concealed weapons permit from 12 hours to 8, and 2 hours devoted to range time and live fire training.
According to the Post, a
Columbus-based advocacy group is one step closer to getting the legalization of marijuana on the ballot this November. According to a news release sent Friday afternoon, the state's ballot board approved Responsible Ohio's ballot proposal. If passed, the proposal would authorize marijuana to be grown at 10 growing facilities throughout the state. Responsible Ohio proposed that one testing facility be located in Athens. The group must collect 305,591 signatures before the proposal can appear on the ballot.
304 customers are out of power in the general area of the East State Street. The outage affects many businesses, including Walmart and the market on State Street. Crews are on scene attempting to repair the electric poles. The outage is estimated to last until 5:30 this evening. The exact cause is not yet known. Ohio motorists will see higher gas prices to start the work week. The state average for a gallon of regular gas was $2.33 in today's survey from AAA. That's up 12 cents from last week and $1.19 less than last year at this time. Ohio gas prices are less than the national average, which is $2.42 per gallon. Among Ohio's metropolitan areas, Akron and Toledo had the lowest average Monday at $2.31. The highest recorded average for this time of the year was $4.16 in 2011. Ohioans are now able to show proof of insurance with the electronic devices. A state law that goes into effect today allows drivers to prove their insurance through information on cell phones, computers, tablets, and other similar wireless devices rather than a typical printed card. Lieutenant Governor Mary Taylor said in a statement that the change is a common sense step forward for Ohio. Officials say the new policy will help cut printing and postage costs. Paper versions of proof of insurance will still be accepted.
A historical Athens home is being restored, and when that's done, there are big plans for how the building will be used. Newswatch at Noon reporter Taylor Alexander tells us the iconic home will become a gift to the residents of Athens.
Just off East State Street, nestled among much more modest homes, looms a historic gem of Athens. The Zenner House at the corner of Utah Place and Jacobs Drive is rich with Athens history. Built in 1929, the house was home to the Zenners, a prestigious family of Athens. The Zenner family was a major employer in Athens, including the McBee industrial plant. They're credited with helping Athens avoid the deepest pain of the Great Depression. The house is now owned by financial advisor Jeff Chaddick, who fell in love with its stateliness as a child. It serves as a part-time residence for him, but more than that, it's become a labor of love.
In Jeff's mind, he's actually owned the property since he was a kid. He, again, being from the Parkersburg-Belpre area, when he would drive by, he always said, "I want to own that."
Larry Cross has been overseeing the renovation since the home was purchased in 2014. However, within this next year, the project is slated to be complete. And there are big post-renovation plans for the Zenner House. Although Chaddick will still reside there, he wants the house to be open to the public and maintain it as a historical building, making it a gift to the city. Cross says Chaddick is spending a lot of money on the project, but
Spending the money for you and I. Anyone who's in this community will benefit from that. We have nonprofits that have already used the house. We continue to have people request to do that. As a matter of fact, Graduation weekend, we have a huge event where we will have 3 of Ohio University's past presidents attending, a special event for Sam Crow, who's also a professor at the university.
With the development of the Zenner House, Chaddock is keeping the memory of the Zenner family and their contributions to Athens alive. For Newswatch at noon, I'm Taylor Alexander.
So far, the renovations alone have cost more than $1 million.
Athens will be the next host of the International Space University's Space Studies program, according to the Post. The 9-week graduate studies program would focus on the evolution of space over time. Workshops, projects, a rocket launch, and a robot competition will be included in the program. There will also be an open presentation in Baker University Center by 4 scientists, including Harrison Jack Smith, the only actual scientist to walk the moon. Postgraduates and professionals from a variety of countries are expected to attend. Safety awareness is still a problem between skateboarders and drivers.
And students at the University of Virginia are questioning racially charged police force. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break.
In your new role, we help you help. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who once took care of you.
A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
As the temperature increases, so does the number of skateboarders in Athens. Their annual appearance often surprises drivers, resulting in accidents. Newswatch at Noon reporter Kaylee Bowers is live with us. How do drivers and skateboarders be safe around each other?
Sean, the first signs of spring are robins and skateboarders. And just like the first snowfall in winter, drivers have to get used to sharing the roadways with them, at least in some places. Drivers may think they own the roadway, but when skateboarders are on it, it must be shared. Then skateboarders sometimes take over, ignoring the rights of those in cars. Athens Police Department officer Scott McPherson says drivers and skateboarders should both take responsibility.
Vehicles and skateboarders need to kind of work together and make sure that they're operating safely around each other, keeping an eye out for each other and things like that.
Skateboarders are not considered a vehicle in the state, so they have to treat the roadway as if they were a pedestrian.
They can't operate in a reckless manner or anything like that, or anything that's going to cause or endanger anybody.
Skateboarders and vehicles do their best to share the roadways, but it isn't always that easy. Junior Michael Pranzato has been skating for over 15 years and tries to be safe when near a moving vehicle.
I don't know, if a car's coming, I either try to stay on the sidewalk or just on the side of the street, like next to the cars. If it's coming fast, then I'll normally just get off and walk for a bit.
Pranzato compares skateboarding to riding a bike because both had to take similar safety precautions. As a skateboarder, Pranzato says distracted driving is one of the biggest problems.
The drivers have to be aware of, common knowledge to just watch out for where you're going.
Being aware of your surroundings can help prevent an accident. Now, APD says skateboarding is restricted on some roads in the city. This includes Court Street, West Union Street, Congress Street, and College Street. Reporting live from APD, I'm Kaylee Bowers, Newswatch at noon.
Thanks, Kaylee.
A Colorado woman is recovering after her fetus was killed by being cut from her body this past weekend. Donnell Lane is accused of cutting a 7-month-old fetus from the mother-to-be. Lane had shown troubling signs before the attack on Michelle Wilkins. In January, the 34-year-old was posting on Facebook about her pregnancy while she wasn't actually pregnant. The Facebook post showed Lane was desperate to have a child and was willing to go to extreme measures. Wilkins' family issued a statement thanking the hospital and authorities for saving her life. Angry students on the University of Virginia want to know why a black student was injured during an arrest by alcohol beverage control agents. Martise Johnson was arrested last weekend for public intoxication. They didn't speak at a forum discussing the use of police force. The African-American student suffered a head injury during the arrest and needed 10 stitches. This leaves many wondering if the arrest was racially charged. The arresting officer said Johnson was agitated and belligerent. Though the bar owner where the incident occurred described Johnson as behaving calmly, Virginia's top public safety officials says the accusation of excessive force is being investigated. After the break, Ann Jacobs is in the Weather Center with a breakdown on the colder temperatures.
And Newswatch at Noon's Clay Benjamin recaps the Ohio women's basketball team's run in the NCAA tournament. This and more when we return.
Will spend 15 minutes watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
The first day of spring was a beautiful sight in Phoenix, Arizona. There was a beautiful double rainbow over the skyline on Friday, giving people a great view to look at. The rainbow stayed for almost 45 minutes. It was followed by rain, hail, and lightning, and ended with a beautiful sunset. The sun was out all weekend. I hope it plans to stay.
Yeah, it was a really great weekend. Ann Jacobs in our Weather Center with more. Ann, what can you tell us?
Well, we did have a beautiful weekend this weekend, but those temperatures aren't going to be sticking around very much this week. Now, right now, we are at 40 degrees here in Athens. Little wind at 11 miles an hour and low dew point, though. And right now, our temperatures, again, are looking pretty low, 36 up in our northern areas and dropping to lower 40s down south by Jackson and a high of 43 in Ironton and Ripley. Now, moving on to our almanac for today. 48 is supposed to be our high today. It's kind of around normal, about 10 degrees lower than our normal around this time of year, but nowhere close to our record high at 85 degrees that was set in 1907. And a low for today at 30 degrees, pretty close to our normal this time of year, around 35 degrees. Again, our record low was set in 2004 at 18 degrees. And you can expect sunset at around 7:45 tonight. And looking at our precipcast for today, we have a bit of rain. This green is showing rain. The pink is a wintry mix, and the blue is some snow. It's in our northwest right now, but it will be shifting down here to southeast Ohio. Again, we will be having we can expect a little rain tomorrow. However, this little bit of wintry mix shouldn't be hitting us too badly but if anything, we will get it in the early morning hours of tomorrow. And looking at our afternoon highs, looking at some 40s, mid 40s, and upper 50s over here. 41 in Newark and 42 in Cambridge, 48 in Athens, with a high at 59, in Jackson. And overnight lows, they will be dropping down to the low 20s, 26, up in our northern areas, with 33 in Jackson and 34 in Ripley. And tonight our lows we have a low of 35 degrees, and there is, again, like I said, a chance for rain or snow. Most probably we will be getting rain tonight and in the early morning hours of tomorrow, and very little chance, about 20% chance of snow later on tomorrow morning or very late this evening. And it's just going to be cloudy, and the wind is not looking too bad tonight at 4 miles per hour. And looking at our hour-by-hour planner, at around 8 o'clock p.m., we're going to have 41 degrees. It's going to be mostly cloudy, but there is not a big chance for precipitation. That chance goes up to 20% from 10% at around 12 o'clock at 35 degrees. And at around 6 o'clock in the morning, when you guys are getting up for work, it's going to be around 32 degrees, pretty cold, so pack a jacket. It is supposed to be a little sunny. However, it's still going to be pretty chilly out there. And taking a look at our extended forecast, we have pretty low temperatures these next couple of days, but there is a pretty good chance for it to go higher in midweek at 70 degrees on Wednesday and 61 degrees on Thursday. Those temperatures, although, will not be sticking around, because on Friday and Saturday they will be going back down to the 40s. So Sean, these temperatures, I'm looking forward to midweek around Wednesday and Thursday, but unfortunately the weekend will be dipping down again.
Yeah, I can't wait for the middle of the week. Hopefully it'll get there soon. Are you interested in improv? Arts West has classes starting tonight for all experience levels.
Or you could attend the Pinterest party at the Athens Public Library tonight. Here's a look at today's community calendar. Weather was nice this weekend. Did any Ohio sports get to take advantage of that sunshine?
Well, unfortunately, the weather was great, but Ohio baseball didn't get to enjoy any of it. They were in Central Michigan this weekend enjoying the conference play against Central Michigan. The Bobcats started out MAC play in the series strong with their 6-4 win, but the Bats stalled after splitting the series in the first 2 games. Ohio was shut out on Sunday in their 4-0 loss, even after tallying 7 hits. Bobcat baseball will finally take over the Wren again for the first time this season tomorrow at 4 p.m. After a day off, Ohio will welcome Xavier in an attempt to wake up their offense again. Now, keeping things in between the white lines, Ohio's softball team welcomed Niagara for their home opener after a hard start to their season. After losing their 2014 MAC tournament MVP and pitcher Savannah Jo Dorsey, the Bobcats have been struggling from the circle, but that wasn't the case this weekend. Niagara only managed to earn 2 runs between the 2 contests, and the Ohio Bats woke up and tallied 12 runs between the 2 games. Next up for the Lady Cats is a road trip to NIU for a doubleheader starting at 1 p.m. on Friday. Baseball brackets are busted everywhere, and they aren't the only teams dancing this weekend. 6 Ohio wrestlers traveled to St. Louis for their version of the dance late last week to try and earn All-American and national titles. But for the first time since 2011, the Bobcats came home empty-handed after 5 of their 6 athletes made it to the second day of matches, but no one made it past Friday night's blood rounds. On Saturday morning, Ohio Wrestling's Twitter account acknowledged that although this wasn't the way they planned their season to end, they're already moving forward and to build on the 2016 All-Americans. While wrestling made their way west, Ohio track and field opted for the East Coast, North Carolina to be exact. Their weekend at the Wake Forest Open was well spent after 12 top 10 finishes. Freshman Taylor Porter dominated in the shot put event, taking first after throwing over 14 meters. Sophomore Taylor Swift has already earned her spot in the MAC tournament, but continued her success last weekend after taking 5th in the high jump. Meanwhile, teammate Ashley Billimer took 9th in the javelin, to note just a few outstanding Bobcat performances. Ohio sports were all over the country, and while women Bobcat basketball team made their home empty from Tempe, they look forward to an even better year to come. Newswatch at Noon reporter Clay Benjamin has the recap for the Bobcats' recent trip to Tempe, Arizona.
From 9-21 a year ago to 27-5 this season, it has been quite the turnaround for Bob Bolden and the Ohio women's basketball team. After a program-best 27 wins this season and first MAC title since 1986, the Bobcats earned the number 14 seed in the Greensboro region and played the number 3 seed Arizona State Sun Devils Saturday night. Before the game, the Bobcats have lost their last 2 games in the NCAA tournament, losing to Washington in 1995 and Illinois in 1986. As for this game, the Bobcats hung with the Sun Devils early, putting an 8-5 lead at the first media timeout. From there, Arizona State went on a 12-0 run and took the lead for good. The Sun Devils ended the first half on an 8-0 run to take a 41-25 lead over Ohio going into the locker room. Coming out of halftime, the Bobcats tried to claw themselves back into the game with a 9-5 run, but redshirt junior Katie Hempen and the Sun Devils stopped any attempt of a comeback and won the game 74-55.
I think it was a great season, especially from where we started last year. I don't think we had a great end to it, but like Mariah said, the rest of us will be here next year.
For 2015 Coach of the Year, Bob Bolden couldn't be more proud of his team.
You know, they showed a lot of toughness throughout the year, and they persevered, and God worked incredibly hard. They're a tough team, and were able to win the conference and the conference tournament, and put themselves to be in a spot that Ohio University hasn't been to in a long time.
With Mariah Byard being the only player graduating from the team this season, they expect great things from Bob's Ballers. Thanks again, Clay. Even with the Ohio women's team in Arizona, the convo was still bumping with basketball, just on a high school level this time. Harvest Prep, John Glenn, and Eastmoor all left the convo this weekend with wins and advanced to the shot for the state tournament. Harvest Prep will start out the competition first on Thursday at 10:45 a.m., followed later that night by Eastmoor at 5:15. John Glenn has one more day of practice, and they'll wait to match up against Cleveland Central Catholic on Friday at 10:45 a.m. With high school's version of March Madness hitting its peak, collegiate players are doing just the same. 2 local teams are still in the running and looking to continue their postseason run to the Sweet 16. Bob Huggins' number 5 seed West Virginia Mountaineers are into the Sweet 16 after a convincing 69-59 victory over the number 4 seed Maryland Terrapins. West Virginia faced the number 1 overall seed Kentucky on Thursday at 9:45 p.m. at Cleveland at the Q. After a historic Sweet 16 run last season, a number 11 seed Dayton Flyers dropped a second half lead 72-66 with their loss to the number 3 seed Oklahoma Sooners in Columbus last night. Oklahoma will face the number 7 seed Michigan State Spartans in Syracuse, New York this Friday night. Now, winter sports are starting to slow down, and spring sports are starting to hit their stride, so it's really great to see what they're doing.
Yeah, it was a really quick turnaround. Thanks a lot, Abby.
Thank you.
A lot of people would be intimidated to put on a pair of skates, especially at an older age, but this almost 86-year-old retired Alabama man isn't one of them. Fred Hudson has been playing hockey for almost 80 years and shows no sign of stopping. Hudson says he's even been playing with guys in the league that he used to coach. Even with the bruises and injuries, he refuses to be benched. Hudson's friends have submitted him to the Guinness Book of World Records as the oldest man in the U.S. who still plays hockey. That's all for Newswatch at noon today. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to watch Newswatch tonight at 6:30.
We'll be back tomorrow with more information on the incident at Trimble Elementary. For Sean Neidig, Ann Jacob, and Abby Carnevale, I'm Tajah Smith. Thanks for watching.